AJ Live. We have a very, very inspiring guest for you today, because a lot of people say, oh, well, all these people that lost weight or lost weight eating potatoes, these YouTubers, they're in their 30s and they have the metabolism. They haven't gone through menopause. They don't know what it's like. Well, let me tell you, I have a lady on today. She's an author. She's going to be doing a cooking demo of some of the recipes that helped her lose 155 pounds. And she did not even start until she was 73 years old. Yes, that's right. She's 76 now. She's very inspiring. She actually wrote a book that was published in March. It's called From Potatoes to Donuts. Please welcome Esther Loveridge. Thanks so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Great. I had to make one little correction. It was from donuts to potatoes.
Oh my God. Did I say I'm dyslexic? I said it the other way around. I'm so sorry. I was showing it, but no, I really am dyslexic. So actually, that's the problem, Esther, with the world today is people have gone from potatoes to donuts.
Yes, I know.
Well, thank you for correcting me. I love your shirt. And as a matter of fact, I almost wore it. But since for you, I wore this one, Powered by Potatoes, and my potato earrings.
Oh, how perfect. How perfect. Yeah. We both love Dr. McDougall, don't we?
Oh my God, he's my hero. And I think probably the greatest moment in my life up there with being on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson was when he had me at the advanced study weekend. And then the second greatest moment is when he actually came to my house for dinner. And I love him so much. I feel like it's because of John McDougall. It's on his shoulders that pretty much all of us stand. So yes, I adore that man.
You're going to make me cry.
Yeah, no, he's numero uno as far as I'm concerned. And his message is so important because that really is the secret. That was the secret to my weight loss of 50 pounds now that I've kept off 8 years. Eat starch, eat potatoes. Everybody's so afraid. And I love the fact that, I'm not that far behind you, but that you are older, because so many people say, well, it's too late for me. I'm in my 70s and this isn't going to work. Well, tell your story and make some amazing food. And if there's questions from the viewers, I'll read them to you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chef Jay. I think I sent an email to you that I can't imagine how you felt that day you got to finally be on the Johnny Carson show. And it's hilarious. I have saved that video. And the one thing I want to say about that is you were so funny and so great, even when you were larger.
Thank you.
So I really appreciate the fact that you were out there doing your thing, and everybody can do their thing regardless of their size.
Thank you. We got a lot of shout outs. Zena says, love, love, love Dr. McDougall. Dina says, Esther looks fantastic. Love her hair too. Kathy loves potatoes. And Inez says, please, Esther, tell us your story.
Oh, okay. Well, it started, of course, 76 years ago when I was born, but it wasn't until I was, after I had my children and everything, I started gaining weight. But then once I started gaining, I just gained weight. So it's probably more after my 30s that I got so much weight on. And then, of course, when I was in my late 30s, when I met Ben in his donut shop, and that's where that story comes from donuts to potatoes, because he first enticed me into his life by giving me a donut every day for breakfast. And, but out of that, we grew into loving our potatoes. And
so basically what you're saying is this is all Ben's fault.
Yes. Well, I'll have to introduce you to him too, because his story is just as marvelous as mine. At one point, Chef AJ, he weighed 320 pounds, and that's since we've been married. He now weighs 160. So we both are less than half of what we used to be. Yeah, it's just pretty amazing. But going back to the beginning, I went to the doctor, and I'm going to put some water in the pot first.
I'm going to ask that question right now. 10,000 steps. Esther, where can your book be purchased? They're asking.
Pardon? Oh, the book. It's on Amazon, it's on Barnes and Nobles. I think I even saw it at Walmart, and it's on the publisher, which is Balboa Press. And if someone wants a personalized copy from me, I have some boxes of them in my storage room. They can send me a request. It's $28.99. I pay the shipping, and my address is 7425 West Parkway, Sacramento, California, 95823. And I have it in hard and soft. So if somebody really wants a hard copy there, but it's more expensive, it's $40 $42.95, and that's a lot to pay for a book. And you can get online too, like Amazon.com. You can just download it if you want. It's $9.99, which is a good price. So back to my story. It actually started when I went to the doctor. Well, it actually started before that. Ben and I love to travel the world. We've been almost everywhere, and we've gone to Ireland on that trip. And by the time I went to the airport to come home, I could hardly walk. I mean, I was so worn out, and my knees hurt so much, and my feet. I just wondered if I could even take another step. So by the time I got home, I knew I needed to do something. And so I finally went to the doctor, probably in June. We got home in May. And I said, what can I do with my knees? And he said, well, I can give you cortisone shots, or I can give you pain medicine. Or he said, I could refer you to orthopedics, but you'd have to lose 70 pounds first. And I thought, 70 pounds, that would take me under 200. And I thought 200 would be a reasonable goal. So I didn't know what to do. My good friend, Nora, bless her heart, she brought me the book. Can you see it?
Yep, McDougall Program for Maximum Weight Loss. That's the only diet book anybody really ever needs.
I know. And right there is his signature. So that was one of my happiest days, was the day that he signed my book. But anyway, so she gave me his book, and I thought, I've tried every other diet. I don't need to go through and list them all. Anybody listening knows, you've been through Atkins, you've been through Weight Watchers or Overeaters Anonymous. I did Slender now. I even sold a diet product. I did a 600 calorie day diet one time. And so we all know that story, and just they can work, because I'm a good dieter. I mean, I can stick right to the letter of the law, and I can lose weight, but I never could maintain it. And of course, I never did lose this much either. So I thought, well, you know what? This is something totally new. I had never really even heard of Dr. McDougall. This is not just 4 years ago. I had not even heard of him. And I read her book, and my friend said, well, you need to read the success stories. And I thought, oh yeah, they're like TV personalities. They say they've lost all this weight, and but you don't know them, and you just don't know if they're really true stories, but they are. If you go to Dr. McDougall's website and read his success stories, they are real. So anyway, I thought, I think I even called him a sucker at the time. I said, I'm going to put that sucker to the test, and I'm going to follow his book and pretend like it's a lab. And if it works, he's going to get the credit. That's basically why I cried, because it is what saved my life. And so I started following it, and we traveled, and I still followed the program when we traveled, and I learned how to be on cruises, and I learned how to do all these things. And so I set my goal at 70 pounds for the first year. And I, of course, wanted to get off my medications, which I was on levothyroxine for my thyroid. I've been taking that for 30 years. I was on statins. I was on thyroid, lithium for 30 years, which is a mood disorder. I had GERD. I had diverticulitis. I had sleep apnea. I had all these things, high blood pressure, pre-diabetes. I had all these things listed on my printout from my doctor. But if you had asked me, are you sick? I'd say, no, I'm well. I mean, there was nothing in my mind. There was nothing wrong with me, nothing, until my knees started giving out. So anyway, so back to the story. So I started, that was July 13th, 2016, just 4 years ago. And there's no way I could go back. And I've lost all my weight. I've been at a goal for over a year now, and far below what I ever thought the goal would be. At first, the 70 pounds would have taken me down to 187. And then pretty soon I was in the 160s, and my doctor said, hey, your BMI's there. And I'm thinking, oh, great. And then it just, even as I got closer to my low, it was funny because I kept losing more weight. And so once I got down below the 160s, I thought, whoa, 150 sure feels good. And pretty soon 140 felt really good. Ben said I should put the oatmeal in, or else I'm going to boil away my water. So I can cook and talk. So I have 8 cups of water in here, and I'm going to put in 2 cups of oats.
And so what is the name of the recipe you're making right now?
It's just the Bob Mill. I'm using this today. I I can see it. Bob's Red Mill Oatmeal. And the reason why I'm doing this, and it's so simple, I gotta give this to, is because people have asked me about it. Well, there's newcomers all the time, you know. Turn that down below. Okay, so there's newcomers all the time, and they say, well, how do you do oatmeal? And if you learn how to make oatmeal, you know, you've got 1/3 of your day's meal done. You know, if you have it every day for breakfast, you don't have to, but if you choose to, every day you have your oatmeal and it's 1/3 of the work done. So what I'm doing is I turned it down below. So I use this because we got it at Costco and it's organic and it's quick cooking steel cut oats. I prefer the longer cooking ones, but they were out because of the COVID. So I grabbed these. And now, because of you, I'm starting to use groats, which is even less processed. And that's what I had this morning for breakfast, was a cup of groats and 2 sweet potatoes.
That's amazing. Anyway, I think that if people would take the time to look for the groats, they'd find they're just even more delicious and satisfying.
Yes, yes. I didn't know even where to find them. I think online you can get them, but we have a food co-op here in Sacramento. And Ben and I went there and we found them. And I found some nutritional yeast there as well. Yeah. So got that going. That's just going to go for until probably about 7 minutes or so. And then the only thing that makes this any different from what most people do is I just have this little container here. And after I make the oatmeal, I put it in here. And when it cools, I cut it into 8 squares. And then each morning, it takes me 1 minute to make breakfast. I take out a section of oatmeal. I add some water to it. Stick it in the microwave for 1 minute and 11 seconds, you know, 1, 1, 1. And I have my breakfast, and I can add any fruit I have on hand, or I can save my fruit till later. Because on the maximum weight loss program, you're only allowed 2 fruits a day. So sometimes I don't want to waste it on my oatmeal. I want to have it later on somewhere. So
that is such a great idea, because I love batch cooking techniques, and that is such a great idea.
It's the answer to everything, because you have to be prepared. You just have to be prepared. And I tell people, you know what? There's only 4 things we have to remember to eat. And that's fruit, our vegetables, our grains, and our legumes. That's all. And then I throw in water as a 5th item. But it's so neat because those 4 categories is all you have to worry about. So if you have your oatmeal, you're getting your grains. If you have some kind of a bean during the day, you're getting your beans. If you don't like beans, some people don't or can't. It's not a problem. But sweet potatoes are my favorite. And they're so easy. So I always have 5 things on hand. And that's regular potatoes, sweet potatoes, oatmeal, beans, and rice. So those are always available. So there's no excuse for going off for me, because that's always there. And then I can always add my fresh vegetables and my fresh fruit. And I have a whole day's plan. So when I do sweet potatoes or regular potatoes, my favorite is roasting. I roast them for an hour at 400 in the oven. And I use one of those Silpat things. And then the best part is when the juice comes out of the sweet potatoes, you can kind of like peel that off, and it's like fruit candy. So anyway, that's kind of what I do with that. So this is my oatmeal. I'm just going to let it stay on warm and do its thing.
I just want to read you some nice comments. Nadej says you're an inspiration, and Sherry says that you are stunning. And Dina says she is proof you can have beautiful skin even into your 70s, and she bets also into the 80s and 90s. So you're 76, right, Esther?
Right. Yeah. But you think if I had been like you and Linda Middlesworth, that started when I was young.
Yeah, amazing. Well, you're amazing now. When are you going to be 77?
October 4th.
Nice. You know, I agree with you about those are the only foods you need. On my book, I call them foods to the left of the red line. Fruits, exactly. Vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. That's all you need.
In fact, I keep your calorie density chart right there on my refrigerator. It's been there for years and it still looks good. I have magnets and I just have it there all the time. Because I kind of came up with this idea that as long as we stay to the left of the red line, we cannot gain our weight back. There's
You
no
can't.
way.
It is impossible. The research that Barbara Rolls did, it is not possible to gain weight at a calorie density less than 600 calories a pound, and that's not possible. Now, are there people that are such binge eaters that maybe they won't lose weight eating to the left of the red line? Possibly, but you're right. It is impossible to gain weight at a calorie density less than 600 calories a pound.
Yes, and I feel like I'm a parrot of you too, because I tell people, you can't gain weight. And in fact, I did a little mathematical thing one time, and I thought, I bet I could prove to people I could eat 5 pounds of food a day and never gain weight. And so I thought, what's the most highly caloric thing I eat? Well, it's sweet potatoes. I think they're up there with the beans. I don't know for sure which one's more. But say they're 600 calories a pound. If you ate 5 pounds a day, that'd be 3,000 calories max. But to the extent that you add your vegetables and your fruit, you're bringing that total down to where if you even get out of bed in the morning, you're going to burn that many calories a day. I mean, so there's no way you can lose. So talk about freedom. I mean, I don't have to worry for the rest of my life about gaining weight again. I mean, that battle is just over. So ask me if I'm happy. I mean, I just love it. I just love it.
Calorie density rules. I can eat 8 to 10 pounds of food a day, and Robbie Barbero eats like 13, and Cyrus eats 11. It's like Dr. McDougall has been saying, the fat you eat is the fat you wear. And when you're not eating the fat and the processed flours and sugar, it's pretty easy.
It's so easy. It's so nice. You know what it is? It's mental health is what it is, because you don't have to worry anymore. We've all fought the battle of the bulge, and it's no fun. And you're up and you're down, and you're up and you're down. And then to get to that point where you have found the answer, it's the solution, the start solution. Yep. It's just great. Okay, dump this over here.
Yeah. So guys, she said the way she reheats it is she slices it into 8 segments like squares, and then she puts it in the microwave with water.
Now, what I started doing after a while is my doctor said, my regular doctor, not Dr. McDougall, he said after I'd gotten my weight way down and everything, I said, well, is there anything else I can do to tweak my diet? And he said, well, yeah. He said, you could add some flaxseed to your oatmeal. So in my group, when I eat something that's not on the maximum weight loss program, I try to put an asterisk by it so that people will know, well, why is she eating that if she lost her weight on the maximum weight loss? Because he says after you've gotten to weight loss, gotten your weight to goal, for 6 months or longer, and you're really stable, then you can experiment and add a few things to your diet, that you wouldn't have had, like nut seeds, olives, soy, and avocado, nuts, seeds, olives, and soy products. And so sometimes I do experiment with I start adding a little flaxseed. When I ran out of flaxseed one time, I added some hemp seed, but normally I started out just eating plain oatmeal. But I really do prefer, or at least when I was losing weight, I always did the steel cut oatmeal. And then I did this just because it was available. And now I'm kind of on to groats. So we start out as preschoolers, and we learn what we can learn. And as we go along, we can kind of tighten the belt a little bit and tighten a little bit. And to the point now, I don't even really want anything out of a bag or a box. So that's what it is. So then I just cut this into 8 squares. And the only problem is when people see it in my Facebook page, they think I'm eating Rice Krispies or something. They say, what is that in your container there? What are you eating? I said, oh, it's just oatmeal. So this is what it looks like.
That's neat. That's kind of like how Chef Ramses Bravo makes his French toast.
Oh, okay. So I do that, and then moving on. Like I say, I'm not like a chef, but I'm here to let people know that no matter how old you are, and no matter how much you maybe didn't think you know how to cook, it's possible. Anybody can learn if I can learn. So the next thing I want to make, I'm going to back up a little bit till I'm going to use the Instant Pot, is I'm going to make your cauliflower bisque. And this is still so super easy, but I love it. I love it. And everybody else does too. So you can't really see everything here. I've got on the tray. So I'll just show it to you as I put it in the pot. And this is what makes it so easy, is because there's hardly any prep time. And so I plug in the Instant Pot, and I take off the lid, and I start adding things in. I've got my little cheat sheet here. Okay, I usually start with a whole cauliflower. So you don't have to cut it up, do anything. I even leave the green on it. So that goes in there. And it's usually about 2 pounds according to your recipe. And then I put in, now your recipe calls for the white sweet potatoes, but I'm going to substitute the orange because that's what I have. So I'm putting in about 2 pounds of the sweet potatoes. Okay, and then we also say cauliflower and then sweet potatoes. Okay, 6 cups of water. Well, magic, I just happen to have that measured out. So that's going to be easy. So there goes 6 cups of water. And the next ingredient is 1 large whole onion. Again, no prep time, just put the thing in there. And then, let's see, 8 cloves of garlic. And I think I put 6 because these are really big ones. And if you want to know a secret, I don't even peel them. Too much work. Okay, and that calls for 2 tablespoons of dried dill, which is what it looks like when I buy it. Dried dill. And that's measured out here. And 2 tablespoons of a seasoning. This is what I have on hand. This is from Costco, no salt seasoning. So I use that. Dump that in there. And what else? Let's see. That's it for right now. Okay. Is that easy or what?
It's so easy. We made it last night for dinner, and then we eat some, and then we freeze some, so we always have it.
Yeah. Now, when you do it, do you put the Instant Pot on high?
I do put it on high pressure.
Okay. Let's see, I'll set it for 10 minutes.
That's how we make time for exercise, guys. We don't cut any of our vegetables. All my recipes, you just put everything in whole. Because I always say, chopping is for suckers.
Okay. So I think it's all set for 10 minutes, and it's on high. And voila, that's all it takes to put all those ingredients in there.
It's so easy. And I don't know if you've noticed this, Esther, but like, because Inez is saying the greens go into her scrap bag. The greens from the cauliflower, it might be the most delicious part.
Yeah. Sometimes I just break them up and chew them.
Me too. And when it's cooked, I sometimes separate it because it's just so yummy. Yeah. Dr. Greger actually taught me that you can pretty much eat everything from everything. Like you wouldn't eat the inside of the artichoke, but like when I had dinner with him once, he was eating kiwis without peeling them. He was eating the stem of the strawberry. So I figure, why not?
Oh, that's funny. The other day I had my brother call me and he said, Esther, I heard you're eating cherry stems. And I said, what? He said, that's taken a little bit too far. And I said, no, I wasn't eating cherry stems. It was strawberry stems. So,
yeah, cherry stem would be like having like dental floss.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. So that's going there. And when it gets done, after it comes up to pressure and cooks 10 minutes, then I add the last ingredients. Okay, now this looks like it's a date container because it is, but it was a good size to hold 3 cups of almond milk, which is what we use, this organic unsweetened almond milk. So I'm going to pour that into this 3-cup container. And then I'm going to add, it also calls for 4 tablespoons of Dijon mustard. And I just use my finger. 4 tablespoons is the same as a 1/4 of a cup. So there's that. And then 4 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. And I have that pre-measured here. I'm going slow enough so that you can follow and maybe even write things down if you need to. So the reason why I like to do that is because I can clean up while the soup is cooking and have this just all ready to go, which is really pretty neat. Then when I put that in there, then all I have to do is use the emulsifier to blend it all up. So now everything else in the kitchen would be normally put away at this point, because I have in this container here all I need to do that last step. Wow, this is going pretty good. Well, let me get the oatmeal out of the way, and go ahead and ask questions if you want.
Okay, I'll see if there, well, somebody's asking if there's a alternative to dill. And so I said, if you don't like it, leave it out. But I just Googled it and they're suggesting tarragon. So that's,
what do they suggest?
There's the internet is suggesting tarragon if you don't like dill. And somebody suggests Plantation Kitchen, who was recently on the show for her 70th birthday. See, we have a lot of rockin' older folks on this show. She says parsley or cilantro. So, so Jennifer says, I don't have an Instant Pot. Yeah, you know, you got to get one, girl, because they save money, they save time. I would, you could do it on the stove. You'd probably have to just boil it for, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I guess. Or you could do it in a slow cooker, but then it's going to take 6 hours. What's great about the Instant Pot, you just put, Esther's making cauliflower bisque.
Yeah. And the nice thing about your recipe too, Chef AJ, is I have sometimes substituted broccoli for the cauliflower. And I've also substituted regular potatoes for the sweet potatoes. So it's really versatile and you can mix it up. And like you said, it makes a big pot of soup, but it's great used as a soup or a bisque. It's also great poured over roasted or baked potatoes. It's good poured over rice. I think it'd be good to drink.
Yeah, that's what we do. Even my dog likes it, and I don't know why, but I do put it over rice, usually basmati, and then we put some greens on top. Arugula is what our favorite to have with it. So we just had it last night. Oh, here's a great question for you, Esther, from Sherry. Do you or Esther weigh yourselves? I'll let Esther go first.
I am a compulsive person. I weighed myself when I get up in the morning. I weighed myself before I went to the bathroom, after I went to the bathroom. And if that didn't look good enough, I took my jewelry off. I mean, I just was really addicted to the scale until January 1st of this year. And I have not weighed since. I decided I want my happiness to come from within, not from some device outside of me. And if this is the way I'm going to eat for the rest of my life, why do I need a scale saying if I've had too much water the day before, or if I not have a bowel movement, or if it's a different time of the day or whatever. So I'm totally free of the scale now. I love it. My clothes still fit, still size 6 from a 26. My ring is still very loose around me. And a couple of, maybe 2 months ago, I got the tape measure out and I measured myself and I was the same from last year. So yes, but you know, if you're not there yet, don't worry about it. But for years and years and years, I was addicted to the scale. And I think Dr. Lyle has a real good suggestion about that. You might want to check him out. He says, you know, weigh maybe 3 days in a row and take an average, and then wait a whole month and weigh 3 days in a row and take an average and compare those two and be a little more accurate. Because the scale can, you know, if I got on the scale and the scale went down, I go, woohoo, and I feel all great. And then if the scale came up, then I think, oh my God, what did I eat? I would blame the last food I ate, instead of realizing that, you know, it measures too many things. So do I weigh now? Nope, it's over with. But I do weigh my food. And I have this little scale here. And the reason why I like it is so I can brag about how much food I eat. Because people would think, oh, now that you're down to 127 from 257, you know, they just think, you know, I have to just be careful what I eat. No. I weigh it to show how much I can eat. So it's not to weigh my food to limit it in any way, but just to show you the quantity, to prove the quantity. So when I post every day on my Facebook page what I eat, then I often will include the weight, not because I have to, but just because I want you to know how much you can eat as long as it's the right food.
Terrific. And Esther, Mary's asking if we can possibly see a before picture, and if you could talk about your book, Donuts to Potatoes, what it's about. And if you want to come closer, when you're not cooking, feel free to come closer to the camera if you like.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, I put something over here. The pictures are in my book. Let me see. I put it up here. this is my book, From Donuts to Potatoes, and the reason why it's called that is because of my love affair with Ben. I met him 32 years ago in his donut shop, and at one time he had 5 donut shops. And so every day, well, it started out, my father gave me a coupon for getting donuts at a discount at Ben's shop. And of course, I didn't know who he was or anything. And so from that day forward, I mean, we've seen each other every day now for 32 years. And it's been a great story. So that's where the title of the book came from Donuts to Potatoes, because, I used to eat donuts every day and now I eat potatoes. So in my book, there are some before and after pictures. I just happened to run across this one. This, I don't know where to stand.
A little bit closer, a little bit closer. You got to talk, remember?
Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot. Okay, this was at my 70th birthday party. So that would be like 6 years ago. And you can see there, and that is drinking water, by the way, but nevertheless, you can see I was pretty heavy then. And this is another one that was that same day with my husband, Ben. He was heavier then, and my cousin from Sweden who was visiting us. So I don't have any more right here to show you before, but I was size 26 when my son got married in 2002. And I still have that dress. In fact, I did a little video where I'm wearing the dress and then I take it off with a smaller dress underneath. But from a 26 to, well, I want to clarify, I was only one time wearing a size 26. Mostly I was 24, but that dress was a 26, and now I'm a 6. So I never dreamed. Oh, and I was telling you earlier, when I started bringing my weight down, I thought, well, maybe I would get into the 140s. That would really be something. And I loved Mr. Rogers, and he weighed 143. So I thought, well, that would be a good number. And then when I got to 141, that was one half of the 282 that I weighed. And I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And then I got down to 139, and that was the day I weighed the day I got married when I was 19 years old. And I hadn't seen 139 since then. And then it just kept going down, and I finally settled in about 127. So I never would have dreamed that I would ever be probably below 160, So anyway,
how tall are you?
I used to be 5'7". I think I'm 5'6" now.
That's
so
incredible.
kind of a rule of thumb is I think of 100 pounds for 5 foot and 5 pounds each inch after that. That's just a rough estimate. So 5'6", 130. Yeah, that's good. And I don't know what my BMI is now. But going back to Dr. McDougall, when I really realized that following that book, it was perfect that Nora gave me that book, because if she had given me, say, the starch solution or the healthiest diet of the planet, I would have enjoyed eating a lot of the other foods, like bread and pasta and flour products and things like that. And I would not have had the success that I have had by going to Mastering Weight Loss. And I didn't know any better. I didn't know he had other books. That's just the one she gave me, and that's what I followed. So for me, it was the best because it follows your plan too, Chef AJ. All your sofas is out of the picture. You're just going to those 4 food groups, and you're going to get in my view, the quickest success. And at 72, I didn't have time to waste because we had another trip planned for China in the fall. And needless to say, I did not have to have my knees replaced. And another kind of a neat thing happened is I was getting my eyes checked for cataracts, and I have another condition called macular pucker, and another one called pseudo defoliation, which makes it more difficult to have one's cataracts removed. And so 3 months into the program, and I had also written that on my goal list, lose 70 pounds, become more agile. And I wanted my eyesight to improve. And I didn't even know why I wrote that down. But 3 months into the program, my eye doctor said that I was now ready to have surgery on my eyes. And I said, well, I've just started a different eating program, and I believe it's going to help my eyes too. Is there any hurry? I'm doing surgery. And he said, no. He said, come back in 6 months. So in 6 months, I went back and he said, your eyesight has improved. 6 months later, your eyesight has improved. 6 months later, your eyesight has improved. And so it was a year ago, December, when I saw him. I said, well, I haven't been wearing my glasses lately. I said, should I wear them just to protect my eyes? And he said, with your eyesight, you don't need to wear glasses. So I no longer have corrective lens on my DMV for driving. And once in a while, I do use cheaters if I'm looking at my iPhone because it's really tiny and if it's not light in the room. But basically, I mean, I feel like a brand new person. So when I'm almost 77 and somebody starts talking about all their aches and pains, I feel like I want to leave the room because I have nothing to contribute until I start telling my story.
So Judy says, you don't appear to have any sagging skin, having lost a lot of weight. Did you have surgery or did it dissolve by itself with your diet and exercise?
My only exercise is swimming. And now since when we stopped going to the gym, March, April, May, June, not going to the gym, not swimming. No, I have swinging arms. I'm not tight like you are or like Linda Middlesworth because I didn't start till I was almost 73. So yeah, but you know what? I haven't seen any studies yet that say you die from sagging arms. So if you're young and beautiful and you need to get surgery, I mean, I don't recommend surgery unless it's necessary. But no, I haven't had surgery. And I didn't have my knees replaced and I didn't have my cataracts removed either. So there you go.
Yeah. There's a question if you drink coffee or alcohol.
I had coffee at first and I always drank it black. So that probably wasn't a problem. But you know what? I have so much energy that I just didn't need to be sent through the roof with caffeine. So I gave up coffee and tea. Yeah. So people say, what do you drink? I say, well, I drink water. I sometimes have it chilled. I sometimes add ice cubes. I sometimes have it hot, but I just drink water. And for alcohol, we did have it for a while. I had up above my refrigerator, I had full of liquor. This thing's I've accumulated for 30 years. And a year and a half ago, it was our anniversary. And I said, we're not drinking it. Our friends aren't drinking it. And we don't have that many friends that come over. So it's just taken up space. And so we had a dumping party. And I opened brand new bottles of, well, not brand new, but uncorked old wine or whatever I had. And we just poured it all down the drain. And here's why. Some people want to have a glass of wine at night. And like Dr. McDougall says, we can find, you can find, people like to hear good news about their bad habits. Well, I'm not judging people who do drink that. But what I experienced for myself was I went to a party one time and they presented us all with a glass of champagne when we got there. By the time we got to the hors d'oeuvres, I couldn't stop. So for me, I believe that it lowers my resistance to temptation. And I don't see any health benefit for me. So no, I don't drink anymore.
Good for you. Francine says, are you of Swedish descent?
Mom used to say Scotch, Irish, and Dutch. On my father's side, German. So German, my grandparents immigrated in 1906, 5 and 6. So I'm probably Germanic. But then if you go back far enough, Germany wasn't even a country then. And we bordered Denmark. So maybe I'm Danish. I don't know part, but that's kind of my background. I say Irish and Danish, German, and Mongol, everybody thrown in.
Jennifer says, did your guy lose weight also?
Oh, yes. Ben went from, 320 since we've been married. And then he was about 220, I think. Well, I'll tell you a story. When I first started eating this way, he said, well, I could never eat like you. And I said, that's okay. But fortunate for me, he likes to cook. So I didn't have to do the 2-meal thing that some people have to do. But so he would make his food and I would make my food. And then as time went on, he said, after he ate all the meat that was in the freezer, he said, well, I just don't think I'll buy that anymore. And I said, okay. And then about that time, Easter came around and we had the family over for our brunch. And after they left and we sent the food home with them, he said, I don't think I'll buy cheese anymore. I said, okay. And then pretty soon he wasn't buying mayonnaise anymore. And then pretty soon he wasn't buying oil anymore. And then he wasn't buying, what else was it? Those were the main things, I guess. And so, yeah, so I'd say from 220, from when he finally transitioned over, he's like 160 now at 6 foot tall. So, Slim, I should have you come over, Ben. You want to come over? You want to see him? Chef AJ?
Did Ben, were you the donut maker?
Yeah, come on over.
Isn't donuts basically sugar, oil, flour, salt?
Well, yeah, it's a lot of flour and a lot of, you hit just about everything.
Yeah, because I always tell people not to have sugar, oil, flour, alcohol, salt, sulfur free. So except for the alcohol, donuts pretty much hits everything.
Yeah, it's not good for you. And I probably knew it when I was doing it, but it was the way I was making a living.
Yeah.
Did
you have a favorite donut back then, Ben?
Well, I like maple bars.
Yeah.
That was my bar, the one I like. Esther liked buttermilk bars. That's how I won her.
Wow. Have you ever heard of Stan's Donut in Westwood, California?
I haven't, but I started out as a franchisee when I was 20 years old for Winchell's Donuts. There used to be a chain of donut shops on the West Coast.
Oh my God, they're still here. And boy, did they make good apple fritters.
Yeah. And anyway, I did that for like 10 years. And then after 10 years, Denny's bought them out and they bought back the franchises. So then that's when I opened my own stores in Sacramento.
What were they called?
Baker Ben's.
That's neat.
Yeah. There's a picture of his donut shop in the book.
Well, you guys must feel very proud of yourselves and each other.
Yeah, I'm really proud of Esther. She's done a fantastic thing. I'm going to let her back in here.
Well, nice to meet you, Ben. And
Nice
Esther,
to meet
there's
you
a
too.
question from Mary that says, how did you do it? What was your routine?
Well, I digested that book so well, and I just, like I said, I always kept sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, and beans and rice on hand. And my little formula for doing rice is a little jingle. It's 3, 2, 22, 10. 3, 2, 22, 10. So that's 3 cups of rice, 3 cups of water, 2 cups of rice. Put it in the Instant Pot for 22 minutes and leave it on warm for 10. So that's my little jingle to remember that recipe. And then I developed something that I think is priceless for me. Is let's see, this is your recipe. I put together. It's called my quick reference for the Instant Pot, and I have it in my group on Facebook. And I keep this Scotch tape to the inside of my cupboard. So whenever I want to make any vegetable, all I have to do there is look there for the times on the Instant Pot, whether it's broccoli or cauliflower or carrots or rice or beans or whatever. And so I use that guide. And then I wanted to tell you about something else that I think is really, it really was wonderful how it worked out. I was talking to a high school classmate the other day, and she was asking me how to do the diet. And so I was explaining it to her, and she was busy taking notes and writing everything down. So when I got through, I said, this is silly, having to tell her this and have her write things down. So I went to the computer and it just flowed. I just love it. It's called the Beginner's Manual. And so I put that together. It's a 6-page document. And if you can't copy and paste it off of my Facebook page or from Esther's Nutritional Journey, if you want a copy, I'll mail it to anybody who writes to me at my address. But send a self-addressed stamped envelope and I'll print you off a copy. And what I did is in this, I just talked about, kind of how I got started. And then I talked about what I try to have on hand at all times, which is what we've talked about. And then I get into education and how important it is to watch the documentary. So I immersed myself in Forks Over Knives and What the Health and now The Game Changers. And then I talked about resources. And I mentioned Dr. McDougall and Jeff Novick and Anthony Lim, who are all involved in this program. And then I mentioned Chef AJ, of course. And I said, Chef AJ is a great source too. Even if all you learn from her is, if it's in your house, it will be in your mouth. that has saved my skin so many times. If you just don't have the food here, when you want a snack, grab a carrot or grab another potato or grab some fruit if you want to or something, but grab whatever's here. Because like you said too, Chef AJ, it's not when you eat or why you eat or how
even
much
right, or how much you eat.
It's just what you eat. And if all you have in your house is what you can eat, then that's what you eat. And that has been wonderful. And then I talk about mental health, how so many of us have had guilt in our lives for whatever reason, maybe our childhood. And then you even mentioned this. I learned so much from you, and it's that you talked about things being compliant or non-compliant versus feeling like you're cheating. So get cheating out of your vocabulary, get guilt out of your vocabulary. We're all learning, all taking baby steps. And, if you make a mistake, grab a potato and eat it and go on. And that's one thing I have noticed with this, eating this way. When there have been little times when I've tried something, it seems so much easier to get back on track because my taste buds didn't really revert all the way back, like if you had gone off the wagon. And your taste buds do change, and what you have available is what you eat, and what you eat is what you crave. It gets to be that simple. So initially I did say to Ben, I said, I need some help. And of course, most of us fat people hate to ask for help because we've been fat for so long and we've been on so many diets, and we've said to our families, okay, I'm going on a diet. Now everybody has to do what I do. And then you fail, and then you feel like, well, how can you even say that the next time? So I just said to Ben, would you be willing not to bring any sweets into the house? And he said yes. So if you live with other people and it makes it more difficult, just ask them to help you, even if it's the 100th time. Just ask for help. We all need help when we're taking baby steps. So.
Well, I love that you said that about the environment, because I was listening to a summit today, a new summit that Dr. Greger's on, and the host said, well, what about mindset? And this is what Dr. Greger said, and I wrote it down. It was so profound. He said, forget the mindset, control the environment, then you don't have to worry about willpower. You don't need to worry about mindset. It's as simple as that. No junk in the household. Don't buy it. Don't stock it. If you surround yourself with healthy food, what are you going to eat? Healthy food, period. If you get hungry enough, you're going to eat that apple. Boom, easy. So I assume you have a clean environment. If I were to come over right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Ben has some things that I don't eat, but they don't tempt me. He has some preserves. He sometimes uses peanut butter. He uses a real high grain bread sometimes, but he's a man, or he has his own metabolism, whatever. But those things don't draw me. So for me, I can live in somewhat mixed, but there's no animal, no dairy, and no oil in our house. And so it's really clean that way. Well, I guess I should move on to another recipe, which I said I would do some cooking for you. I have this salad here that's really easy. I actually got it out of, I think it was Rip Evelson's, the Rip 7-Day Fire Engine Diet book, whatever. And I think it was Anne's recipe, but it's so simple. If you feel like you have to make something for someone else, it's called the Simple Black Bean Salad. So probably you can't see things here too well, but I've kind of gathered the ingredients to show you how simple it is.
Esther, there's a question from Dina. Were you overweight in childhood?
No, I wasn't. I would say it wasn't until I went away to school my junior and senior year that I went up to 160. And then after that, especially I went through a divorce, and then I went up to 200, and then 220, and then 280. And, but no, as a child, I was lean and straight. Yeah. So this is the salad, and it's called the Simple Black Bean Salad. And what I did is it said to use 2 cans of these black beans, which I did, and you had to rinse them and drain really well. So I did that part ahead of time. So I'm just going to dump that all into the salad bowl. So I've got 2 cans of black beans, and then also it called for 1 can of water chestnuts, and that needed to be drained too. So this was the can of water chestnuts that I used. So I thought, why not drain them at the same time and rinse them? So I put the beans and the water chestnuts together and drained them real well. So they're here now in the salad bowl. And the next, so I got 2 cans of beans and it calls for 1 can of fire roasted tomatoes, diced. So I'll dump that in there. So this is kind of like a dump salad. We make dump soup all the time, but this is like a dump salad. And then after the, where am I? After the roasted thing, it has a package of corn. And this has been defrosted this morning. And just 12 ounces of corn. This bowl might not be big enough. And then it calls for a half of a purple onion. So this was the size onion I used. So I diced up the other half, put that in there. And then it called for the zest and juice of 1 lime. When I did the zesting, I used this little gizmo here, this little grater. And that's really good about getting the zest off of. But as you can see, I don't have a fancy kitchen and I don't have mostly fancy tools. I have my Instant Pot, and that's wonderful. So I'm putting in the zest from the lime. When I did the zesting, I did under foil because it comes off so easily. And then I have I have the juice from the lime. I'll put that in there. And then the dressing is 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. I'll put that on the top. And what else? Seems like something else. Am I missing something?
It's so easy. Mary Ellen says all of Esther's recipes are easy and quick. She doesn't like to fuss with fancy stuff.
No. Oh, I know. You could put some garlic powder in there too, but I'm going to try it without. Anyway, this is really, you can see here, this makes a big serving if you wanted to take it to a potluck or if you wanted to impress somebody, you know. So it goes pretty fast. Oh, I know what I forgot is cilantro. The cilantro. And I chopped that up. I'm not very good about cutting up cilantro, but and Ben doesn't like it anyway. But for this recipe, I'll make it. So when I'm not online, I can put this in a bigger bowl and toss it up real good. And it's really good the next day too. So yeah. Speaking about my food, I take the time to take a picture of everything I eat. I mean everything. And I post it every day. And the idea for me is that when people see my plate of food, I want them to say, oh yeah, that's beans, and oh, that's rice, and that's potatoes, and that's salad, or that's fruit. And I want people to recognize what I eat, because if they can recognize it, it means I'm using whole food, so they can see that.
And do you post these on your Facebook page, or do you have Instagram? Where are you posting it?
I have a group called Esther's Nutritional Journey. And
I've been posting the link to your Facebook group, and I'll post it again right now.
Okay. Yeah, when people join my journey, there's 2 questions I ask, because I want the person to make at least a statement of what their goal is. So I just don't accept you carte blanche if you want to join. You have to answer the question like, what are your goals, or how can I help you? And then the second question I ask is, have you watched Forks Over Knives, The Game Changers, or What the Health? Because if I know that they've at least watched those or are interested in watching those, that their mind is open. So that's really important to me. And I just want people to say, okay, this is what I want in my life. If we don't know what we want, we're not going to get it, right? Mm-hmm. We have to claim it. So I'm still waiting for the Instant Pot to finish that up, but I can go on to one more thing here.
Katie, I just want to make one comment, if you don't mind, Esther. I've been posting the link to Dr. Greger's video on microwaves, because people are saying a lot of guests on your show use microwaves. Yeah, because we're real people in the real world, and there's no evidence that they're unsafe. And also, people aren't fat and sick because they use microwaves. It's because of what they eat. And Katie wants to know, what's your ratio of veggies and starch in your daily eating?
You know what? I don't worry about it anymore because I don't have to. But through you, I've learned how to eat more vegetables for breakfast. So sometimes I'll put my oatmeal on a bed of greens. I get that power greens at Costco, and I'll just put some oatmeal on top of it. And it might not be what you serve your mother-in-law, but hey, it works for me. I don't really worry about the ratio, but I know that I want to get plenty of vegetables. So, like yesterday, the day before yesterday, we picked 4 cucumbers from our yard, and it took me 2 days, but I ate them all. So I just put a little vinegar on it, and so some days I'll eat a lot of vegetables, and but I always eat lots of potatoes and sweet potatoes, and I like to have beans and rice every day, but I don't worry about the proportion anymore. So, I hear my little Instant Pot.
I know, Esther, you couldn't have timed this more perfectly. It's almost like you had a dress rehearsal. This is great because we're almost out of time and the soup is ready. This is fantastic. She's made a day's worth of food, you guys, that's going to last for more than a day. Judy says she loves spinach in her oatmeal. It's really good. Greens in your oatmeal is really good. And sun-dried tomatoes and shiitake mushrooms. Yeah, I always say start your day in a savory way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do have one more thing I wanted to show you, because people always ask me, what do you use for your salad dressing? What do you use for your salad dressing? So I've kind of evolved from Esselstyn's, what did she call it? She called it, she called it Jane's Dancing Dressing, but I don't like sweeteners anymore. So she had maple syrup in it, so I leave that out. But I call it my 3-2-1 salad dressing. It's what I go to. It's so simple and it's so easy. And this is, I don't know if you can see it here, but I use 3 parts balsamic vinegar. I use 2 parts Dijon mustard. And I use 1 part lemon juice or orange juice. And most of the time I have lemon juice and orange juice frozen in little ice cube trays. So I most often use that, but I bought this to show you the lemon. So I just mix in a bowl the mustard and the balsamic vinegar and the lemon juice, and just whip it up like this. And then I pour it into my little container from the dollar store. I use my little funnel here, and I just put it in there. And then whenever I want some dressing, I put the lid on and I just squirt it out on my salad. And it's also good over broccoli. It's good over Brussels sprouts. It's just 3-2-1, 3 parts balsamic vinegar, 2 parts mustard, and 1 part lemon juice or orange juice, because sometimes we're running out.
Everybody's kind of adapted to
Isn't it interesting you went from eating donuts every day to not really liking sweet things?
Yes, yeah, I know. It's
just a much slower.
It's just great.
But that's good too.
Yep. All
yeah,
right.
I wanted to point out Dr. Doug Lyle too, because he is wonderful. He's the one that taught me about how, it's not that we have low willpower. Well, some of us might be, but it's not that. It's just if you don't have it in your environment, if it's in your environment, you're going to naturally be drawn there. So it's a normal thing.
Went away. I've been doing that all the weekend.
Had some noise here. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Isn't Dr. Lyle, did you actually go to the McDougall program ever?
Oh, yes. I did want to say that too, because my friend gave me the book, right? So that was free and I didn't have to pay for anything. And I'm kind of known as the family Scrooge. I like to conserve. And so after a while, I was going on eBay and I was buying used books of his books to pass out to friends, to my dentist and different people. And after a while, I thought, this isn't benefiting him at all. So yes, I did sign up and I took the Starch Solution course. And I also went to his 3-day program a 1.5 years ago. And that's where I got to give him a hug, have him sign my book, and thank him for all he's done for me and for Ben too. It's just wonderful. So, but I just my book.
That's delicious.
Yeah.
It's underneath the paper. Right here, underneath it.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you wanted me to share a post from my book or not.
Yeah, sure, because that would be a great way to end this broadcast,
Okay.
as a matter of fact, because we'll end on that, but I just want to tell everybody, come back tomorrow at 11 when Dr. Loveridge from the True North Health Center will be talking about addiction and I believe it is stress. So please come back. Yes, please close with one of your excerpts.
Okay. I'm actually going to read the one that's for today, June 11th. And the word is safe. It says there is a direct, this is just what we were talking about, there is a direct correlation between the contents of your kitchen and your success following a plant-based diet. Our success in eating healthy food rises exponentially according to what is available in our home. When we create a safe environment, we will eat what is available. We are less likely to go out and find something off program. And if it takes just too much time and effort to get it, it takes quite a bit of commitment and seriousness to just clean out the cupboards, refrigerator, and freezer. To the extent that one makes that commitment, they are taking a big step. It will only hurt for a little while. Most of us don't want to throw away food, yet we will throw it into our bodies and think nothing of it. And if we truly believe it is not fit for human consumption, the garbage is the best place for it. If we can see some food as toxic or poison and not fit for humans, we will have come a long way to putting action behind our goals. When in doubt, throw it out and be safe.
That is beautiful. I agree. I say that a lot. When in doubt, throw it out. And Dr. Goldhammer says, better in the trash than in your stomach.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for the millions you influence. And I'm so happy I got to meet you twice when you came to Sacramento, and for Linda Middlesworth putting forth those programs with all those wonderful speakers coming here. And your influence is worldwide, and it's just wonderful to be here with you today.
Well, thank you. And I'm sure many more people are going to be aware of you now in your wonderful book, which I will say the name correctly this time, From Donuts to Potatoes, which you can get on Amazon. Unless you want a signed copy, then you'll have to write Esther for that. And I posted the link to your Facebook group, Esther's Nutritional Journey, which I almost think should be called Esther's Inspirational Journey.
I agree.
Because
now, it's maybe the next book.
Yeah, you are going to motivate a lot of people. Thank you guys for being here. Come back tomorrow at 11 o'clock for Dr. Chilla Varesh from True North. Thanks again, Esther, for all you do to inspire people of every age that it is never too late to lose weight, feel great, and reclaim your health, eating the way Dr. McDougall has taught us. Want to say goodbye, Esther?
Oh, sure. Goodbye, and be your best and be kind to yourself. That's where it starts. Love yourself.
And eat potatoes.
Eat potatoes. That's right.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.